Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back into the B team. We got a pro producer this time instead of me doing the wrong intro on Scared Money Don't Make Money. So that is awesome. Welcome back. Thanks for joining us live. We are, as always, brought to you by the Kubota dealers of South Dakota, 10 different locations across the state, plus a couple just over the border. Stop in, get yourself into some orange equipment today. They have been our title sponsor for the last 2 years. We couldn't be prouder. Thank you for all the support. Stop into Kubota. They've got sales, they've got service, they've got parts. Not that I think you'll need many parts. There are some reliable machines, but they got them if you need them. Anything you might need for your acreage or lawn or around the house, they've got you covered all the way up to a farm if you need some skid steers and things like that. So stop into the Kubota dealers of South Dakota. And I forget who our sponsors for the B Team show. Is that Culver's? It's Culver's, right?
It is Culver's.
Yeah, Culver's of Brookings and Watertown is what
we're the 50 Butter Burger.
We are the 50 Butter Burger podcast. We almost got a 50 Butter Burger last game, but didn't quite make it, and that's okay because I still got to have a Butter Burger, and a Butter Burger is better because better breaded beef makes a Butter Burger better. So, and I'm still owed Scoopy tokens by a certain someone who is yet to fulfill his duties on that, but
oh yeah, I forgot about that.
Mm-hmm. It's a weekly thing. And people might notice I do have a guest with me today. Mom is sick, literally, and tired. So we get to hang out together. So if you hear noises, that's probably who it is. So I apologize in advance. It's very professional of me to go that route. But that's how you get me today. So,
but we're consummate professionals on this show.
Yes, it's the B Team anyways. We're so professional in the first place.
And Ben's recording us with his phone. No. Oh, he's playing something into the mic. Oh, that's what.
Uh-oh. I can't hear it.
No.
I can't even hear you.
At all.
Yeah, somehow you shut your own audio off.
Yeah, we got zero audio from you, bud. Oh, there it is.
It's the Circle of Life song.
There you go. It was actually better when you pulled it away, Ben, somehow. I don't know.
Yeah, that's weird. I might have been saturating it. My bad. I just needed to see it.
Yeah.
Anyway, I got to hold Xena, and she's super cute. So.
Yeah, she's got that going for her. She got that from her mom, not from me, obviously. I think everybody recognizes that at this point of life. Accepted the reality of that.
Well, let's talk about some football.
Yes, let's talk about football. That's what we're here for, I suppose. Do we want to talk about like tailgating and new stuff at stadium that we noticed?
Sure. New tent.
And also check out that JI logo up in the top corner. That's super sick. Where'd you get that? That is sick.
Oh, that's one of our new logos provided by Hannah Owens of the Owens Effect.
That is so sick,
nice.
Hannah. That's awesome.
We also have a blue and yellow version.
That is phenomenal. We need to get that on some swag. That's sick. But speaking of changes and things, tailgate was a little different. How do you guys feel about the parking and what happened to the library lot?
You know, I hope that they realize that they made a mistake. Yeah, for those that don't know, our normal tailgate lot got converted to Jackrabbit Club parking, which is fine. I mean, there's a lot of new Jackrabbit Club members, a lot of season ticket holders, which is great. But I think they overestimated how many parking spots they need for Jackrabbit Club. So we're hoping that they adjust because it was empty. And it changed the atmosphere around that parking lot, which sucked. And yeah, I don't know. I hope, I don't know. I don't know what to say about it other than that they just got to change it back.
Well, yeah, and Tim says finally got us away from the alumni tent. Psych, we're still there.
Yeah, we didn't move at all.
That plan didn't work at all. But what I'll say about it, I understand, listening to hair raisers and stuff, they kind of liked it. They liked the extra space and stuff like that, which I understand. They were already Jackrabbit Club members. We got our Jackrabbit Club passes and all that jazz for ourselves.
I mean, No line
But
for the porta potties was pretty nice.
That
was-
is a benefit.
Yeah, very nice. But it did really hurt, I think, the atmosphere that had been built there. It was cool to see that stuff getting set up over by the dairy lot. I saw a lot of people doing that. That was really cool. So, it could end up being a good thing. I do agree with you. I think they overshot maybe a little bit. I feel like there is some happy medium that needs to be struck there. And I think it is important to keep a pay lot or something like that close, just to encourage the, money talks and BS walks, right? So I get that, but you do want to keep some things accessible for new fans or people who are showing up for the first time and just want to pay that $10 to get in before they get into getting a Jackrabbit Club and things like that. And I do have concern just when you look at the Jackrabbit Club parking map around the stadium, your closest pay lot is all the way over by the dairy bar. Like, that's a hike. In the end, it's probably I don't know if they're gonna adjust. I kind of doubt it. It's probably gonna be something we end up adjusting to. I think the tailgating will adjust. Yes, it is frustrating for some people. I understand to have to walk farther, but the reality is that no, we didn't plan the matching sheets. That's funny. But available on jackrabbitillustrated.com. But you go to most stadiums, that's the way it is. Your cheaper tailgating and parking is further away from the stadium. I totally get it. The thing I did love about the library lot is it gave some access to, people who were close to, worked season ticket holders and stuff to be involved, be in a great tailgate atmosphere that was established. So that was kind of a bummer. That's what really bums me out. I think I said to Matt, look what they've done to my boy, because, us and the Hair Raisers and the Jackulants and, all those guys kind of built, and the softball parents, built, it kind of grew, from there into something really cool. And it was definitely gone. It wasn't completely gone. There was still, our mainstays, we were still there, but it really hurt the tailgate atmosphere that was there, I think. And the reality is there's been roadblocks and changes to tailgating procedures and policies that have inhibited and pushed back, and then all that has pushed back those things. But we've always adjusted, overcome, and the tailgating is still evolved from there. I could see a really cool area evolving over at the dairy barn. If that starts being a thing, I know they are trying to work with facilities to open up that grassy, the old track and intramural field to tailgating. That could end up being something really cool where it connects all the way through eventually. So try not to be too negative about it. I wish they didn't change it. I understand the change. It's just a bummer to see it have to take a step back from what it was down there.
I still hate the north exit, or lack thereof.
Well,
that
they
drives
were
me nuts. They put a chain across it now.
They were letting cars out of that lot, and I didn't end up leaving. I left early because of this one, as you do. But they were allowing people out the north side of our lot, and then they were.
I saw a chain across it. I thought so. I didn't try it.
I'm
pretty sure I saw it. Was there? They put a chain up later. Well, then never mind.
The thing I'd like to see done, if we're going to go down this road, is like when we went to Iowa State back in the Lightning game, if you all recall, you could buy a tailgating spot basically they had numbered all the lot spots. And I think that, if you get to that level, and maybe it's the next level, I don't know, an extra $100 on top of the 500, you could have a tailgating spot that's an assigned parking spot in a lot. That would be, kind of advantageous. It's kind of in between what we have in the backyard and then what we had, last year, or now, I guess, really. So it's just a thought I would throw out there.
Yeah, I think that'd be cool if they made it at least around the edges where you could reserve
That's
those.
what I was thinking
those
specifically.
spots, if you could reserve those for a deposit or whatever, then yeah, that'd be kind of nice, because it generally is the same people. And then if they don't get filled up, it's first come, first serve, you know?
I mean, they do have the pink lot, but that's way out there. There's no tree, no cover, no atmosphere out there. I mean, it sounds like it's getting more and more people out there, but um, I don't know. It's a bummer. Like Brendan said, we'll just have to adjust and figure it out. I mean, we've things have changed, and we've voiced our opinions, and they've changed for the better too. So I mean, I think keep talking to people about it. Let them know how you feel. Let them know, um, uh, what they think they could do better, and they usually listen. So we'll see.
Yeah, because the UPD wristband situation, that's all gotten way better,
Mhm.
and our lot's back to what it was. I don't know, probably the first year you maybe showed up and tailgated with us solidly, Brendan. I mean, that's about where we stepped back to. I mean, it's not like we lost everything. It's 4 or 5 years ago.
Right. And what my biggest pressure point is what Ariel brought up about the timing, and they didn't really announce it very well for what was a very popular lot. I mean, it was the point last year where that thing was slammed most of the games, so it got really cold. I wish they would would have just told us ahead of time. That would have been the best thing. A little earlier, made a bigger announcement, let everybody know a little better. But it is what it is. It's all kind of in the past, and you deal with it now. Our tailgating is good, Ron. It's fantastic. The tailgate was still a lot of fun. I mean, I had a blast again, per usual. Selfishly speaking, it probably was a lot easier with Xena there, having less people around. But my only gripe is I made 34 pounds of brisket in anticipation of the numbers we were having last year.
It's still
we went through
quite quickly.
Well, half of it. I never got the second one out.
Oh, I didn't know that.
There was a whole second brisket that I just kept in the cooler.
There was people looking for it later, and I thought it all disappeared because I went on a walkabout. But that's
cool. I'd have been I'd have took her out and cut her up. Some more of it anyways, not all of it. I don't think we'd have gone through 34 pounds. But yeah, so but the game, there was some nice new additions in the stadium. I love what they did with the national championship signs on the wall instead of just being the silver that they used to be. Now they're all lit up. So
yeah, and
that was cool.
The speaker covers look great. Got rid of those ugly old stained ones that I complained about. So I'm happy about that. What else?
They changed they brought the pyrotechnics, if you want to call that. They brought them up on a platform.
Yeah, and somehow they still didn't work. They had one of like the 8 sparkler things worked. So I don't know. I don't think they have ever all worked at once, but maybe they'll get it at some point.
We can't. That's like one of the few things we can't really see from our position that well.
Oh yeah, it's right in front of me, and it's like, why can't we get this? They have to practice it. I don't understand how it goes wrong every time. But anyway, on to the game. It was a little nerve-wracking for a while. UIW is no joke.
Some dudes.
I think one of my big takeaways is that UIW is the real deal, and especially Calzada. That quarterback is a dude. He can sling the ball. They're going to make some noise this year. Kyler on the FCS Fans Nation podcast said they're not a top 25 team. I disagree with that. I mean, do they have the resume right now? No, but I think at the end of the year they're going to win the Southland and they will make the playoffs, and I think they're going to make some noise because they got some dudes between Calzada, Walthall, and what's the other guy's name? Alexander. Both of those guys were very, very good. Now Calzada did throw a couple murder balls to his guys and got them lit up. And I will say one thing, a couple of his chunk yardage plays came on, prayers, basically back foot 50-yard chucks, and they worked out. But yeah, I mean, I think they may rely on that a little bit too much, but overall, yeah, UIW was very impressed.
Well, and those receivers made some great play. I mean, they made some great catches there. Calzada is definitely, obviously, we have Mark. I want nobody else. But in a world where we don't have Mark, I would absolutely take him. Dude's a gamer. Dude's a baller. I mean, he was on the rewatch. I mean, he was trying to get ahead of his running back on straight running plays and throw lead blocks. It wasn't some of these like Tom Brady, I kind of get in the way blocks. Like, he was launching himself at dudes. So, I mean, I was impressed. And some of it is too, I think, the FCS the FFN guys love to say every playoffs, styles make fights, right? And for the last 2 weeks, we've faced a style that we aren't really designed to face. There's a reason that Oklahoma State runs a 3-3-5, and there's a reason that Incarnate Word's running a 4-2-5. That's what they're playing, that sort of offense a lot, and we run a 4-3 because we run heavy pro style offenses more than that spread them out, sling, quick pass type of action. It's not an excuse or anything like that. I just think it does lead to this game looking differently sometimes to some people where, I mean, for years, this is what, Kyler in particular, this isn't a talk shit about Tyler podcast, but I'm not.
I'm fine with it.
We can.
He's not that guy.
We love ragging on Kyler anyways, just for fun. He always has brought up, and I thought the same thing in 2022, that we'd rather face NDSU than Incarnate Word because we matched up better with them. It's just the reality. In the end, I absolutely love the offense. Looked fantastic. The defense, I think what has been super underrated and unnoticed and is really going to shine here starting this week is how good the run defense is. They allowed 23 yards to the running backs if you take out Calzada's scrambles for 40 yards. 23 yards on their designed runs. That is nutty. Well, I mean, that's what we're used to, but that's nutty. And I think once we start facing Valley opponents, and your heavy hitters are pretty much all that style of play that you need to shut down the run, I think this defense is really going to shine, and people are going to look back on this game and like Oklahoma State and go, well, how did that happen? This defense was so good. And it's just kind of a nature of the beast. Incarnate Word is designed to score a ton of points. They're not designed to control the ball. They're not designed to, keep their defense fresh. They're designed to try and run up and down the field as fast as they can and score points. And that's, what they did. And even then we allowed 24 points. Yeah, we allowed 400 yards, but you know what matters the most in any football game ever? Whatever it says on the scoreboard. That's what matters the most. That's why when Tim, love you. I know you might be watching, you and Alex with your bromance that you guys have being stat nerds. Points matter. I don't care what they got per play. I don't care how efficient they are. Points matter. Are you scoring more points than you're giving up by a lot? Then you're probably pretty good. So I will take a 21-point victory. Deb's got more for Kyler. That's fantastic. Mark looked awesome. Receivers looked great. We saw some tight ends emerging. Gosh, if we would only stop pushing the damn tight ends, except we saw one outrunning a defensive back down the field and almost have one with an angle not able to catch him. That is nuts. I saw him catch that. I'm like, oh, that's a 15, 20-yard gain. And then he outran everybody. I'm like, holy hell.
He's so big, he didn't look as fast as he was.
Yeah.
Yeah, he looked like as Gormley, and he can trot. Once he got going, you were not stopping him. You mentioned the offense looking good, and I was trying to remember. I was like, how many times did we punt? We didn't punt. We punted 0 times. And so yeah, that's pretty good when you're doing that. Back to UIW for a second. They were definitely chippy. They came in and they were looking to, I don't know if that's their program or if they just knew that, hey, we're going in the number one team's place. We need to muck up the game a little bit. But man, they were chippy. They paid for it with some penalties. They were very confident. I will say that Clint Killow is a whiny baby. He was throwing a
That's the
fit
word
on the
you want.
sideline all night, and he looked ridiculous. Like, there are coaches that, throw fits and they do it purposefully. He just looked like a whiny baby all night, and I was embarrassed for it. So, just wanted to comment on that.
I think that's where it all stems from, right? If you've got a coach
Yeah.
throwing a tantrum on the field regularly, spiking his headset at the refs, running all the way out on the field, you're probably not going to have a super disciplined team. And I do think some of it was extra juice to prove that they belonged, and teams that are already chippy go over the top. Hell, we saw it over the last 3 years. We've gotten a little mouthier and chippier as it went along, and it paid dividends, but it was over the top with it, and it led to some seriously painful penalties for them that really cost them. Something I noticed, sorry, not to, if you've got something to say on that,
just one more thing on that. I do feel bad for number 70 because he got a penalty for what we loved when Mason McCormick did, when he would get a guy down and finish his block.
He jumped on him like a belly flop, though.
He did. But, I mean, whenever McCormick did that, we loved it. So I couldn't really say too much about it. But anyway, go on.
Did you catch it last night when Dallas said that, when we were asking who was the best player on offense, who gets the game ball? He says number 70 for their offensive line.
He was he was feisty. He was a feisty dude. But here's something surprising that I haven't seen mentioned yet. Hunter missed the field goal, and then I think it was the next extra point, or maybe the one after. I'm pretty sure Hunter didn't kick the extra point. We had the freshman kicker kick that extra point.
Is that right? I'll find out.
I was just looking at that, and no, that's not correct.
That's not correct?
Right. I don't think we missed another kick either.
No, we didn't miss anymore. We just I didn't say
yeah, no, he was
extra one.
It says in the stats Hunter Dustin was 6 for 6 on PATs.
Huh. God, I must have been seeing things then. I could have swore I saw that kid kick an extra point. I must be crazy.
Don't believe so, unless the statisticians missed it. But
no, I doubt it. They're probably watching a little closer than I am during a game when wife and baby there. I apologize for all the noise in the background for those of you listening on.
I don't think anyone minds.
trying to mute myself when I can here.
You mentioned the defense earlier. I do want to touch on them. I think giving up 24 points, and we're especially the last 2 years, we're not used to that. Number one, UIW has a good offense and has a good quarterback. But number two, 14 of their points were on massive plays. The big tunnel screen, and then the Aaron Rodgers-esque back foot 50-yard bomb to the end zone. And so without those, it's the old bend don't break defense that, without those plays, they probably get maybe in the field goal range. They kick a field goal and they only score, 17 points instead. And so I'm not too worried about the defense. I would like to see a little more out of our defensive line. And I think we'll see that. I was talking to somebody tonight, actually, is one of my neighbors. Actually, Cole Langer's dad. And so he knows the defensive line. And we were talking about the D line and how, people forget that a couple of years ago, it took us, we had the Iowa game, and then, we started winning games, but it took a little bit until our defense was real dominant. And I think we're going to see that this year with this team. I think we have the talent. I think that these guys, they've had snaps, but they haven't had to play full games. And so I think that they're getting used to that. And so I think that we'll see this defense hit its stride probably about conference play time. And especially the D line. I think we'll really see them start to improve as they get snaps under their belt and get more live game action, because there's just no way to replicate that. I mean, it's one thing to come in and have, a dozen snaps a game compared to having, the 75% of the snaps in the game. So I think that's what I look to see from the defense. But I do want to call out Matthew Durant's looked really good. How good was it to see Caleb Francel running around out there? He was all over the field. He looked, like the linebacker that we've been excited to see. He's had some injury problems, but I think he's primed for a big year. So yeah, overall, I'm real excited about the defense.
Yeah. Honey, I got it. Don't worry about it. Take your time, relax a little bit, take a break.
Yeah,
but on the defense, I don't know if you guys got a chance to listen to Jimmy's press conference this week yet. Somebody asked him, I think it was Jay Elson asked him, hey, Jimmy, are you worried about the slow start with the defensive line not getting pressure? And he was like, well, 2022, you guys said the same thing. 2023, you guys said the same thing. And then I don't get this question at the end of the year. D-line is kind of like our O-line, where it takes some time for him to gel, develop, and, get into it, and Jimmy goes into that pretty well in his answer. If you want to hear a good, more in-depth answer, go listen to Jimmy's press conference on YouTube. He goes into that. Jesse asks what we thought about the end of the half, and hearing what Jimmy said, he's just curious what we thought in the moment. Jimmy said, the concern is with a team like that, if you go and give them another play, they try to chuck it deep and get a cheap PI call, and then they go and get you for, a field goal off a cheap field goal or whatever. And I think that makes a lot of sense if you are, you're confident in winning the game, and confident in your offense, confident in your defense taking over in the second half. I think that makes a lot of sense. In the moment, it was like, why don't we go get this safety? It's so close. Let's go get the points. Let's go get all that. What are we doing? Shh. I know. But, in the moment, it feels like that. But looking back, it makes all the sense in the world to me. I mean, I like being aggressive, but you can see,
it comes naturally.
Like this. She's getting aggressive for me. We're working on that, huh? I'm okay with it. I understand the reasoning. I understand both sides. I was very pro, try to pin him back, but I get where Jimmy's coming from there.
I think with where the game was at this point, we were up 17-10, and I think Jimmy thought that we needed to make some adjustments at that point. And I think he was excited to get the team into the half, not have anything else happen, not have any other big plays break open, and have any unnecessary points. And the risk wasn't worth the reward at that point for him. So, like you said, if the game was in hand, yeah, you probably take a time out there and see what happens. But with the situation, the way the game was going, I think the flow of the game, I think it was a smart move to get into half, regroup, and then come back out and dominate like we did, honestly.
Yeah, I think that was great. And like Brennan said, in the heat of the moment, everyone was like, why aren't we trying to get those points? But as he pointed out in his show, that was the smart choice, because they had just hit that bubble screen for almost 90 yards, it felt like. So, you get it's one of those damned if you do, damned if you don't. But obviously that's the smart, logical choice there. And it's interesting that, I think it was Zimmer that pointed out that he was more conservative there, when times in the past he's been a lot less conservative. So that was an interesting, just viewpoint on that, Jimmy's both conservative when it counts and not when he needs to be. So it's kind of, something that's a little bit different with Jimmy than what we saw with Stig.
Well, I think that's just smart coaching there. If you think about it, when you've got, going from an extremely experienced team to a team that you're working new guys in, where there's more of a risk of somebody slipping an assignment over aggressive, trying to overmake a play in that situation. That makes, it makes more sense. Maybe he tries to do it last year when you've got guys who aren't in their third game, but are in their, 17th, 20th game. So it makes sense from that aspect as well.
Yeah, it is
for sure. I think we should talk about the offense. I mean, we talked about how good they looked overall, but I don't know if you saw, I posted all of Mark's touchdown passes on Twitter, the videos of them. I think he had a great performance overall. It seems like he's still figuring out the timing with the new pieces that he's got on offense. I think, with the Yankees, he just knew where they were going to be. It was so easy for them. It was pitch and catch out there, and you can tell with the new guys, he's just not quite confident in with their breaks and their timing, and I think that'll come. But even with that, even with all the new pieces, he's still dominant. He's still making amazing throws. A couple of those touchdown passes were just perfect throws, and so yeah, I'm not worried about Mark at all. He's a beast. He's such a luxury to be able to fall back on him. When our running game did come around, but to be able to, there were a couple third and longs where we just were like, well, Mark's probably going to convert this, and he did. And so it's just such a luxury having him on our team. But how about GFW?
Yeah, he's
Griffin
a dude.
Wilde. That dude, I don't know what he's on. He's got to be on pace to set a bunch of records this year in all 3 catches, yards, and touchdowns. That guy looks like, I mean, honestly, he looks like an FBS wide receiver. Like
He does.
he looks the part. He looks, and you mentioned it the other night, but Riggs was talking on the broadcast about how Winicky was at camp with him, and Winicky was like, "This kid's better than I was," and we all remember how good Jake Winicky was. And so it's just kind of scary to think that this kid is a true sophomore, and to think about what he's going to do this year and what he's going to do in the future. Just so exciting watching him. He's always so wide open because he's so fast, and then after he catches the ball, it's just he's got another gear. He just takes off, and it almost like catches defenders by surprise a little bit, because I think they're used to guys catching the ball and having to make a move. Wildy's already in 5th gear when he catches the ball, and so he's just a huge playmaker for us, and he's going to have a massive year.
Yeah, dude's got such great, and his body size for a receiver, he's a huge dude. I can't say anything better about him. Graham's really coming around too. He's had some amazing catches already in 2 games. And one thing, I just to peel it back a little bit back to Mark, if you look at the stat line, I think what you don't see in that is there was a few drops. We get those shored up, and the offense is putting more points on the board than they did, and gets a little more lethal. So, I mean, there was some pretty poor misses on some of the catches.
Yeah. And I think, you see that with, Graham and Prejean. They're those guys are going to come around, and I think they're going to be definitely dangerous, especially Graham, from what we've seen from him so far. Is definitely going to be more than enough of a weapon to make it difficult for teams to decide to just focus on GFW, because he is getting open, and he is in position to score a bunch of touchdowns. So I think he's definitely going to develop into a great weapon. And to be honest, I was a little bit of not a believer in him maybe at the beginning of the season, and he's, in my opinion, completely proved me wrong. Clean up a couple of the drops, which sometimes games are like that for dudes, and he's going to be a serious weapon as well.
Yeah, no doubt. And then on the running side of things, 605 Hogs look good, both in protection and run blocking. Loved how Amar Johnson's looking. He's developed some real patience and burst. He's got kind of what we're used to Isaiah Davis doing, where he's got that patience and then he hits the hole hard. Even for a little guy, Amar Johnson was moving piles, getting behind his pads, and so he's looking really, really good. And it's a matter of time before he breaks one. There were a couple times where he was right at the second level and just got tripped up. We'll see some long runs from him, and then Angel Johnson. I mean, I get that guy to the ball on the perimeter as much as possible. That one edge run where he just outran everybody to the sideline and then turned it up. That guy's speed is incredible. The run back he had was electric. The block in the back on that play, I don't think even affected the play. It must have been a block in the back because there was like 4 flags on it, but I think Angel was running the other way anyway, and he's just got some amazing speed, and he's going to be a problem for the Missouri Valley this year. I think his balance is better this year, and yeah, I think we're going to see real big things out of the Johnson and Johnson backfield.
I also like to see that it looked like Chase Mason was looking to throw. Whether or not that was a bait or not, I don't know, but it did look like legitimately he was intending to throw on that and took it as an RPO.
Right, and what I like to see was that some of those QB runs that we had in the first game with Mark, we had them with Chase this game, which I wish we would have done that with against Oklahoma State. I mean, when we were running Mark against Oklahoma State, we weren't hiding it. It was QB power. And so if you're not hiding it, just put Chase back there. I mean, Mark's a great athlete, but Mark will tell you that Chase Mason is an amazing athlete. And if we're going to have somebody running QB power, I would rather it be Chase Mason. So yeah, I was real excited to see them run that more with Chase Mason in there. Last thing on the offense, I guess, yeah, we touched on the tight ends, Gormley, Contrat, Gannon had the long touchdown, and then Stoffel left early with an injury. We saw Alpers out there a little bit. Just you look at those guys out on the field, and most teams don't have one of those guys. We have 4 of them. It's just wild to have that much physical talent on the field. Now we'll see if it, results in production. But we did see some of that this game already. And yeah, I think that they're going to have a big year too. It'll be interesting to see if one emerges or if we just kind of see collectively they start to produce, kind of like they did this game. So other than that, do you guys have anything else on this game?
No, I mean, the only thing is on Chase Mason. Generally speaking, I'm not a huge fan of taking the ball out of your best player's hands when it's your quarterback like Mark is. But if you're going to do it, I love the way they did it there's a ton of different ways they used him already in that game where it's creative, it's different. It's not just, say, I don't know, swapping out Cam Miller for someone hypothetically and just having the run, because that would be really
having it be a run every
that
time.
would just be that in my opinion would be moronic. But if you're gonna do it, be creative. And like there was a couple of those plays where you can see things that'll be set up off them later in the year. So if you're gonna do it, I really like the way they did do it. So I think that's gonna work out great. But that's my last comment on that, because we probably got to get to the rest of the Valley stuff because stuff happened.
Let's do it.
But first, this is presented by Northwestern Mutual. If you haven't listened to FCS Nation Radio, they've got Chris Schenkel on there talking about Alex's lemonade stand. It is awesome. They just had the gold game with the soccer team where they raised funds there. Chad raised a bunch of money with pudding shots already at the first tailgate. So We're going to be collecting that throughout the year as well. They have not fully announced all of the people who will be the representatives, the players for each school yet, just because some people have to cross I's and dot T's before they're a part of it. But Northwestern Mutual is awesome for putting this on. We raised, I think it was $45,000 last year across the FCS. Their goal is $250,000 this year, so we're going to shoot for that. But obviously, on top of that, if you need any financial planning done, retirement, anything like that, they do it for free. Go and talk to those guys. Get yourself some insurance. Get your life a little bit more in order than you would be if you didn't have it. So go and talk to the very friendly folks down at Northwestern Mutual. Hey, the odds are you'll end up talking to a Jackrabbit player. So go ahead and go down to Jackrabbit. Go to Northwestern Mutual.
Dear Ariel, I can't paint that on me. I'm much too big for it.
Oh, no, it didn't fit?
Oh, yeah. I thought I told you that. Yeah.
Oh, well, what do you do?
Yeah.
I mean, we could paint one on you if you're looking
that would
for
be
that to happen.
I'm willing to do that.
I think plenty of the people on this chat have already seen more of my hind end.
That would end up in some search histories there.
And what we're talking about is the pudding shot Santa costume that Ariel is asking about. That we may
do have it. I still have
may or may not paint on Chad. Chad has the Missouri Valley Football Conference standings pulled up here, and as we all know, Northern Iowa is the top of the conference.
Obviously.
No, they are 2-0 at this time, and they're the only team in the Missouri Valley that is sitting at 2-0. But that's because they played Valparaiso and St. Thomas, who they almost lost to. But they do play Nebraska this week, and I doubt that's going to go well for them.
So. Oh, that's going to be not good. No, that's going to be tough.
Yeah, for sure. Then we've got a bunch of teams sitting at 1-1. Illinois State, UND, NDSU, USD, SDSU, SIU, and Youngstown State. And then a few teams at 0-2, Indiana State, Missouri State, and Murray State. As far as games from the Missouri Valley this week that were notable, Missouri State looked good against Ball State. They only lost by 8. Northern Iowa almost lost to St. Thomas, which, in my opinion, would have been embarrassing. Youngstown State took care of Valparaiso. USD looked all right against Wisconsin. It sounded like they had a pretty good first half, and then I guess they did pull within maybe 4 points. So they in the third quarter there, so they had a pretty good game against Wisconsin. NDSU took care of Tennessee State by almost 50. Murray State, what? Oh no, baby, what is you doing?
So bad. So
now
bad.
Brendan has to go commit murder on a horse.
Yeah,
and
it's Glue Factory time.
Doesn't he also have to ship a bag of poo? Oh no, to the Unidome.
I don't have to. I get to.
Yeah, Murray State done went and lost to Butler. But man, the Pioneer League represent. They had some good games this week. With highlighted by Drake beating Eastern Washington at Eastern Washington. Suck it, Kyler. Anyway, I'm just kidding. Illinois State took care of North Erla Burmer. SIU beat Austin P by 14. Eastern Illinois took care of Indiana State by 7. And then the biggest game in the Missouri Valley of the week was UND coming back down by 17 at half to win 27-24 at Montana, which is kind of sorry, it was at UND. You're right, but still wild. Yeah, we talked about them playing in the convention center. But go ahead.
What's wild is their home record that Matt Frazee brought up. They're like 21-3 since 2019, which means their only losses are the 1 to us and then 2 to NDSU up there since 2019. you're destroyed.
Yeah, they UND is unreal in at home, and then they are real bad away from their stadium, and so it's kind of it's been kind of a running joke, but it's backed up by
Facts.
facts and records, and so it's just not a joke anymore. But yeah, good for UND. Montana, it'll be interesting to see where they go from here. But scoring 21 points in the first quarter, 3 in the second quarter, and then 0 in the second half is just, I don't even know how that's just, you don't see it real often. So
That's a brutal loss.
yeah, it's
It
real
is.
bad.
Did you guys get a chance to watch that at all? Because I'm curious. Did they play the quarterback shuffle in that game, or did they stick with Ayat the whole time?
The other quarterback only had 2 throws, so I think it was Ayat pretty much the whole time. Yeah, I do not know how they lost that game. I didn't watch it. Somebody else can chime in, but yeah, Ayat didn't even have an interception. Yeah, I did.
Sounded so. I listened because I had a lot of driving today. Only 844 miles. But I was listening. I ended up listening to the Grizz Fan Pod on the FCS Fans Nation network of YouTube channels, which we are also on. But I listening to them. Sounds like for some reason they decided to start passing on first down. They swapped out Logan Fife a couple times, but not nearly like they were. So, you know, it's just and it sounded like they kind of really didn't adjust anything. They just thought they were going to be able to waltz through the rest of the game, and it didn't work out.
Yeah. Somebody mentioned 5 minutes of possession in the second half, which is pretty pitiful.
Our buddy LaRon.
Yep. You said you had the top 25 pulled up, Chad?
I do. Let me throw it up
Take
here.
a peek at that now that we're a couple games
We're gonna go
into
with
the
Sam
season.
Herders.
The Hero Sports Top 25 from our friend Sam Herder. We've got SDSU 1 and DSU 2, then Montana State, Idaho, and Villanova, and USD at 6. UND all the way up to number 9, just above Montana. Southern Illinois sitting at 12. Other Valley teams, we've got Illinois State at 18, Youngstown State at 22, and then nobody else receiving votes. So, well, I guess they don't do receiving votes on there, but yeah, that's what we got for the top 25 right now.
Well, we probably should talk about why Idaho's number 4 right now, because that was pretty big.
Yeah, go for it.
They went out and beat Wyoming with their backup quarterback, who also ended up getting injured, and they won anyways. Eck bringing some of the Dakota defense with him here. And, I mean, they gave Oregon a hell of a run for their money, which FCS teams never do. I mean, I don't care how good the FCS team is. They usually get mollywopped in those games. So that was impressive in itself. But then your starting quarterback goes down, and kind of everybody, you know, your natural assumption is, well, you know, maybe if they're pretty good, they'll put up a fight. And then they go into Wyoming, who's not good. Full disclosure, they're not good. But they go in and get that win after you lose your starting quarterback. That is a hell of a win on the road. So yeah, they shot up the polls, and deservedly so for that.
Agreed.
Now, I think we should at least touch on the upcoming game, unless we have anything else before we get there. So we play the Augustana football team from Augustana College in Sioux Falls. Or is it University?
University now.
Sorry.
Jeez, just starting with disrespect. Look at this guy.
It wasn't
Are they
that long
spelled
ago.
Augie Doggies, or how far can we throw this back, Ben?
It wasn't that long ago when they were Augustana College. Was it 20 years ago? Was the last time we played Augustana?
20, that's what Tanner had said. It was at least 20 years ago. So
yeah,
I think he said over, so it might be 21 or something. But
yeah, it's been a minute.
for sure.
Dustin's
You know-
proud of her scheduling.
Right.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay, North American, shut up.
By the way, it's sold out the stadium, so thank you for that money. Cha-ching.
Well, I'm sure we're paying them to come, but it is good money.
Yeah, but we're not paying them big money, I'm sure.
Yeah, it's the advantage of a local team. I don't know what you guys think. When I look at this game, here's the way I look at it is and it's been said before, they're looking at us like we look at FBS teams that are local FBS teams. And
Yep.
Normally I look at a top FCS as being able to hang for a quarter or half up to 3/4 with FBS team, really, no matter kind of who it is in general, unless it's Alabama. But
Gesundheit.
Excuse Brendan while he
sneeze in the
sneezes.
middle of that. I'm just a mess tonight, just causing havoc all over the place.
Baby germs.
But anyways, so there's going to be a lot of dudes on that Augie team out to prove a point, prove they belong at SDSU, prove that they're better than the guys who took their spots. The boys better be ready. And, I could see this being a game for a while just based off the emotion and lack of. If the boys don't come in locked in at 100%, this could be a dogfight for a half, and it wouldn't surprise me in the slightest. Because Augie's going to be coming in probably with an almost rivalry type mindset. Not that they think we're their rivals, but they're going to have that mindset of Super Bowl is an unfair term, but something along those lines. This is going to be one of the biggest.
It's a giant game for them.
Yeah, it was a huge game. You get to play the biggest fan base, most known team in the region that you'll ever get to play in front of, more fans than they'll ever play in front of by multitudes. So they're going to be amped up. Now, Jack should be able to come out and take care of business right away. And, in the Jack's happy land, we come out and jump on them right away, marks out by half. And then we've got, we're getting guys experience like Chase and Voorhees and go down the line. Everybody's getting experience in this game. That's what you hope will happen. But I will not be shocked if they come out and, not necessarily get ahead or anything like that, but keep it a fight for a lot longer than Jack's fans are comfortable with, just based off of those factors.
Yeah, Matthew Kroll said he sees Augie only give up 2 yards rushing last week. Yeah, it was 2 yards a net, but they did have 6 sacks. There's quite a bit of negative yardage there, but even without the negative yardage, it was only 62 positive yards. So still some salty rush defense there. It'll be interesting to see if we see Canyon Bauer. He's playing for Augie now. He used to play for SDSU. I think, we obviously can't overlook them. I will be interested to see if we try to establish a run, which I think we do to start out. It'll be interesting to see how much we see Mark throw the ball. Just for record's sake, I'd like to see Griffin Wilde get like 2 or 3 touchdowns just to keep the momentum going and like 150 yards receiving, because he can probably do it against this team. He did it against Oklahoma State, so he can do it against Augustana. I think it would be an opportunity for us to get our new guys more experience, get our offensive line gelled more, get our defensive line some more snaps together, some more live game reps. I think it'll be a real good opportunity to clean up some things.
And some chance for some guys to get healthy too in the secondary.
Yeah, I'm sure anybody who is borderline dinged up is not going to make an appearance in this game. I would be willing to bet a large amount of money on that. Should win this game going away. That's just reality, because it's not like we're a fringe top 25 team that they'd be hanging with. We are the number one team, so should pull away. When I say I'm just not I wouldn't be surprised if they hang. I mean, we've seen you and I do that to Iowa and Iowa State over and over and over as the lower division in-state rival, even when they're not. When Iowa is highly ranked, it happens sometimes, and then Iowa fans are losing their minds, and then it ends up being just fine. But I fully expect to win this game. I mean, at minimum, we should be able to wear them down with depth. I do expect us to come out and look good, though. Jimmy doesn't feel like the type of coach who's worried about hiding things. When you're throwing out some of the plays we did against Oklahoma State when the game was wasn't in doubt, but it's not necessary. You didn't feel like it was necessary to throw a trick play out there to, like a fake punt and stuff. So I don't necessarily think they're going to put a super detailed Augustana game plan in, but I don't think they're going to shorten the playbook and try to only run. I don't think they'll be shy about letting Mark throw the ball around anyways, and get the ball to GFW. I think that's still going to be a part of the game plan.
For sure. Jim Poppin asked if we're calling a Butterburger. I think we see a Butterburger in this game.
I think we do.
I don't see us running up the score against these guys. The A team was talking about the other night how the coaching staff is pretty close, and we do a lot of things with them at camps and things. So, I don't see them wanting to embarrass them by any means. I'll say my predictions for Scared Money Don't Make Money, which is tomorrow night, by the way. We got a conflict on Thursday night, so Scared Money Don't Make Money tomorrow night at 8:30, I believe. If not, we'll tweet it out, but we'll save our predictions for that. Don't have much else to say about this game. Jesse asked the important question, what are we making for the Beef Bowl? And by the way, I wasn't kidding when I commented the other night. I literally bought 3 racks of pork ribs earlier that day, and I did not realize it was going to be the Beef Bowl. So I don't know. I'll probably have to save those for another time.
Guess you're gonna have to get some beef ribs. Spend that money, buddy.
Expensive, man.
Yeah, they are expensive.
But remember when? I think that was our first smoker adventure at the tailgate, and Chad picked up some baller ones, and holy crap, they were good.
They were great.
I don't think.
It could be done. We could do that.
Maybe when JI's got the money for a big backyard lot, then we'll look at doing a beef ribs tailgate. But until then, I also forgot it was the Beef Bowl until it was brought up. And at the time, I'd been thinking pulled pork. Obviously, not going to do that now. I think I'm going to do some poor man's burnt ends out of some chuck roast and go that route instead.
I think one thing that we didn't touch on that maybe we could talk about a little bit just to final out this podcast is how great having a full Dana J. Dyke house is. The atmosphere that presents when everybody's jamming on the bleachers, dude. That's so awesome. So kudos to everybody. Make some continue to make more noise on third down or even before that. It does make a difference. It was commented on by Jimmy and the players. So,
you do make a difference. And you know what? I'm going to say something here. I have seen it too many times on the Facebook page. If you're listening and this is you making these comments and it hurts your feelings, not sorry. Tickets are becoming scarce. That is the reality. Don't you dare. Tickets are becoming scarce. That's the reality. Games are selling out. They don't overschedule these games. That's just what happens. People are showing up. You're not going to be able to wait until the week of the game and buy tickets anymore. Those days are gone, particularly these early season games. If you want to get tickets, you got to plan ahead of time. Or hope you've got a season ticket holder like myself who's been planning for you and happens to have an extra ticket. you're going to have to start using the secondary market, and you're probably going to pay more for games. And that's why we recommend so many people get season tickets. They're really a bargain. If you end up if you're thinking you're going to go to the Hobo Day game, it's sold out already. It's reality. So you're going to have to go on, get secondhand tickets from the secondary market, go to SeatGeek. That way they're the real deal because that's the partnership with SDSU. So they're verified tickets. But the days of being able to wait and decide if you want to go to the game are over. You've got to decide you're going to the game and you got to commit to it. And a lot of people are starting to do that. And that's awesome. That's what we want. You want this to be a scarce ticket. I know it is frustrating when you want to go to the game and you're not able to get a ticket. But in the end, that's where we're at now. You got to start planning ahead and getting tickets ahead of time. And I mean, honestly, as a program, the university, this is what you want. You want people not able to get in because it's the place to be. And I understand it's frustrating, or if your child is doing, the cheer thing or whatever, it's unfortunate if you can't get in there. But in the end, what I know about going to games, if you want to go to a game, you can get into the game. Will it be expensive? Probably, but you'll be able to get in if you really want to get in. Or, check, there's a SDSU ticket exchange site on Facebook. There's SeatGeek. There's tickets available. And yes, some of them are very expensive because, yes, there are people who might not be able to make the game that have season tickets that we're to the point now where some people are going to put them on and go, if I can pay for my year's worth of season tickets with selling my tickets to this one game, then I'm going to sell them. And, is that kind of a bummer? Well, that's a moral dilemma for them, not for me. They're not my tickets to sell. But that's my little
perks
tirade
of season
on
tickets.
that. Yep, the perks of buying season tickets. You can get them for
Along with
$100.
Badass championship pins.
Yes, and you get a bunch of cool championship pins.
I mean
that or
it's
to the point now where people got to start looking for when the single game tickets are released, and that's what it is. I mean, this is what NDSU fans dealt with for years, where it was the first 40 minutes, every game was sold out. So it's still not to that point. We've got plenty of room. And the beauty is if we get to that point, they'll probably expand the stadium if we get to that point where the whole season's selling out because we're outside. If you really want to go to the games, there's still some tickets left for the last 2 games. I recommend hurrying up because if you haven't learned from the first 4, I don't know what to tell you. It is.
I think it's part of the growing pains of a successful program. It's, and I think the whole parking lot situation may be that too. I think, we're getting to the point where we have enough big donors that we've got people that are paying enough money that they expect a parking space close to the stadium. And that's just what big programs do. That's what big successful programs do, is they reward their donors and they reward their season ticket holders. And so what does that mean? Go buy season tickets. I mean, the days of being able to grab a ticket whenever you want to go to the game, walk up to the stadium and grab a ticket, even the week of the game, grab a ticket, they're gone. And so we just people got to adapt, and there's like I said, it's growing pains. There's going to be some frustration, but people get used to it. The ones that really want to go to the games, they'll buy season tickets, or they'll be there right when the single games go on sale. And people will adapt. But like Jim Poppins said, Jackson blackout the Dana. It is a blackout on Saturday. So wear black. I think Jackrabbit Central has a few options there. They tweeted out. And Chad's got on the screen here. There is an option through Blue Tide Car Wash. There's a ticket giveaway that
That's
you can
through
enter
Facebook.
On
their Facebook page.
Facebook. There you go. So go ahead and do that. And Jim also mentioned it is Touchdown Tuesday if you want some discounted gear.
25% off at jackrabbitcentral.com. Yes, sir.
Other than that, I don't have much else.
Yeah. I don't have a lot besides shaking my monitor, apparently.
Shout out to Austin Vanderwall. I did not know my Jackrabbit was backwards.
I didn't even think about it. I've seen it for how long?
Is yours?
No, mine's painted
I don't care. Is it backwards?
correctly. No, it's painted
it's not
correctly.
backwards.
Well,
Technically, I don't know if that can be backwards, but that is the way we are used to seeing it.
if you look at your wall, is the Jackrabbit point looking to the right, Chad?
It might be because you don't, because your camera's
Oh, maybe
inverted.
not. I don't know.
Oh no, I did
guess.
mirror my camera. I'm all messed up now.
Yeah, you got.
Yeah.
I think you got a mirrored camera.
I mirrored it because I was fixing it. I got to get it back now. Okay, we're on the same page here.
I was like, my mother-in-law did it, and it ain't getting repainted. That's all I know. She did an amazing job. That's
anyway. Thank you for pointing it out.
Well, no, Austin. See, you had me, and then you lost me when you start quoting the marketing department because we're such big fans. Anyways,
about that. How about the garage time now?
Yeah. Thank you to everyone who's tuned into this. Thank you for everyone who put up with my shenanigans and everything tonight. We really appreciate you stopping by. Give us a review if you're listening to us on the podcast form. We greatly appreciate those. Give us a like, share, follow. We really appreciate that as well. But if you don't, hey, that's okay. We appreciate you tuning in either way. It doesn't matter. Thank you so much. And with that, I think it is time for the old go big.
Tomorrow night. Scared money don't make money.
Scared money don't make money. That's right.
That's right.
As Jim I'm sure is the first time my wife's hearing about
it. As Jim says, as we always say, go big, go blue, go Jacks.
Go Jacks.